I'm hysterical. You never asked me, do I wear red? Go, pull, sailor.
These are the 10 guests Johnny Carson loved most on The Tonight Show. Over 3 decades of hosting thousands of entertainers, some stood out above everyone else as the people who made him laugh until he cried, who moved him to tears, and who became his closest friends in show business. Let's count down the guests who held the most special place in Carson's heart. At number 10 sits Jimmy Stewart, the beloved actor audiences knew from classics like It's a Wonderful Life and Vertigo. Stewart wasn't just another Hollywood legend, though, because this man flew as a pilot in World War II and took home an Academy Award back in 1940. What separated Stewart from other guests wasn't his fame or his record. The real magic came from his heart and the way he'd show up on The Tonight Show throughout the 70s and 80s to do something completely unique. Stewart would recite original poems he'd written himself, sitting across from Carson and sharing these personal pieces in his distinctive drawl. The moment everyone remembers happened when Stewart read an emotional tribute to Beau, his beloved companion. That poem hit so hard it reportedly brought tears to Carson's eyes right there on camera, which tells you everything about the genuine emotion Stewart brought to the show. Those readings eventually became a book in 1989 called Jimmy Stewart and His Poems.
When I think I feel that stare, and I reach out my hand to stroke his hair, and he's not there. Oh, how I wish that wasn't so. I'll always love a dog named Beau.
Carson treasured these appearances because Stewart brought something real to television. No Hollywood phoniness, just a sincere man sharing his thoughts through poetry, and the connection between them felt authentic every single time. Stewart passed in 1997, but those heartfelt moments with Carson remain some of the finest television ever made. Coming in at number 9 is Dean Martin, who they called the King of Cool. Dino Crocetti was his real name when he arrived in the world back in 1917, and this founding member of the Rat Pack became one of the biggest singing stars the 50s and 60s ever produced. NBC gave him The Dean Martin Show, which ran from 1965 all the way to 1974. Martin's appearances on Carson's show became legendary for one simple reason, which was his laid-back charm that made everything look effortless. The bit he'd play up involved showing up as this slightly tipsy entertainer, and audiences ate it up every single time, while Carson would sit there in absolute stitches as Martin told jokes and they'd toast together on air.
I got so much money, it's disgusting. What good is it? $800 for an apple. Boy, you ought to see this apple.
See, I didn't put it on. I laid back. We'll be right back after this.
Clips from these appearances became viral classics decades later, showing Martin arriving on Carson's set looking like he'd already enjoyed himself before the cameras rolled. The chemistry between them was electric, and you could tell these two genuinely enjoyed each other's company.
Well, it all depends on if it's a menopause or just a pause.
Oh, I don't know. We'll do this first, or second, or whatever, and we're gonna come back.
Carson admired Martin's cool, relaxed stage presence more than most people knew, and he often cited Martin as one of the entertainers he respected above almost everyone else in the business. Christmas Day, 1995 took Martin at age 78, but his legacy of effortless cool and those memorable moments with Carson remain woven into late-night television history. At number 8 stands Carol Burnett, who earned her title as the Queen of Television Comedy through years of brilliant work. Born in 1933, Burnett became a household name when The Carol Burnett Show ran from 1967 to 1978 and collected 6 primetime Emmy Awards along the way. The Tonight Show saw Burnett frequently throughout the 70s, and she often showed up with Tim Conway, her longtime comedy partner who could make paint drying seem hilarious. Their sketches would leave Carson laughing so hard he could barely hold it together behind the desk.
You have made a movie, and you wrote one, and you...
Yeah, down in Tijuana called Peggy and Her Pony, which was
No.
Oh, the one for Disney. Disney.
Not the training film.
No, not the training.
Not the training film, no, I said.
For,
Not
yeah.
how to take care of your N1 we've seen. No.
One famous segment from 1979 had Burnett and Conway ad-libbing this whole bit about Conway's inept accountant, and the improvisation got so funny that Carson was laughing uncontrollably somewhere off camera. Carson once jokingly called her the world's worst guest because she'd overwhelm him with laughter during interviews, which Burnett later shared as the highest compliment she'd ever received.
Same office you are on.
Excuse me, I'm hot. I put toilet paper in here.
Just kind of...
No, I was perspiring, and
I know, that's...
Sorry, I didn't...
That's right.
Now, what were you talking about?
Carson always admired Burnett's talent and considered her more than just a colleague, treating her like genuine family in the business. She's recalled in interviews that Carson would drop whatever he was doing to have her on his show, which meant everything to her at the time. At 91 years old, as of 2025, Burnett keeps performing and often speaks fondly of her time with Carson. Number 7 brings us to Lucille Ball, the woman who pioneered comedy on television when nobody thought a woman could do it. Ball arrived in 1911 and created television history with I Love Lucy, which ran from 1951 to 1957 and changed everything about how America watched TV. Running Dissolu Productions meant she wasn't just performing either, because this woman produced shows like Star Trek and made herself a trailblazer in an industry that didn't want to give women any power at all.
How much I miss you when you're not here, Johnny. I
Oh, that's
really
sweet.
mean it.
Well, thank you, darling. That's
I
very nice.
really mean it. We really miss you when you're not here.
I have to get away occasionally, don't
I can understand that. I can understand that.
And you're getting away from your series, too, I read after...
Please don't touch me, Johnny.
Oh, excuse me. Move the sequin out of position there.
Carson held immense respect for Ball's pioneering work, treating her like royalty every time she appeared on The Tonight Show throughout the years. Multiple appearances happened over the decades, and Carson always made these into special occasions that felt different from regular guest spots. The most heartbreaking moment came on April 18th, 1989, which was just 8 days before Ball passed. She appeared on Carson's show that night, and during the interview, something shifted when she became emotional right there on air. Carson quietly comforted her in this touching moment that would end up being her final television appearance, and he later said it felt like a heartfelt end to her incredible career. Ball passed on April 26, 1989, at age 77, leaving behind a legacy nobody will ever match. Carson spoke of her with great respect throughout his career, citing her as one of the few genuine friends from his early television days who understood what the medium could really become. At number 6 sits Rodney Dangerfield, who built an empire out of claiming nobody respected him. Jacob Cohen was his birth name back in 1921, but everyone came to know him as the man behind that brilliant catchphrase, "I don't get no respect."
I got no respect the day I was born.
Really?
No respect. The doctor picked me up and smacked me. I found out the nurse, she got a few in too. He was a lonely kid too, Johnny. Oh,
Yeah,
was I
lonely,
Very
huh?
yeah. Even in the park, I had no friends.
Really?
I remember the seesaw. I had to keep running from one end to the other. I grew up, I was lonely too, and I grew up.
yeah.
I couldn't get dates with girls.
Girls didn't-
Trouble with girls, they go for a guy with looks. Everything is looks, you know?
Around 35 appearances on The Tonight Show made Dangerfield one of Carson's most reliable sources of comedy gold. Every single appearance delivered rapid-fire one-liners and exaggerated anecdotes about doctors, dentists, and marriage that had Carson laughing so hard he'd often wipe tears from his eyes while trying to maintain his composure.
Last time I was there, I met a lovely girl. Oh, a lovely girl. Valerie Dubois.
Valerie Dubois.
Oh, lovely girl, Valerie Dubois. In fact, she told me to call her VD for short.
He didn't, Valerie.
1980 brought Dangerfield his big breakout when No Respect won the Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album. And that same year put him in Caddyshack alongside Bill Murray and Ted Knight, cementing his place in comedy history forever. Carson once admitted on air that Dangerfield was extraordinarily funny, which, coming from Carson, meant everything in the business.
The next day, I usually wake up in some strange place with a kid with an accent playing with my feet.
The chemistry between them felt genuine, with Dangerfield constantly making jokes about Carson's perfect hair or those thin legs while Carson would laugh and play right along with the bit. October 2004 took Dangerfield at age 82, but his records and film roles preserve his unique brand of humor, including the 1999 film Meet Wally Sparks that spoofed his whole persona. Those 35 Tonight Show appearances remain some of the funniest moments in the show's entire history. Coming in at number 5 is Charles Nelson Reilly, who ranked among Carson's absolute favorite people to have on the show. Born in 1931, Reilly accomplished plenty on Broadway with roles like How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and he became a beloved panelist on game shows like Match Game, where his personality could really shine through. Here's the number that tells you everything you need to know. Reilly appeared on The Tonight Show 97 times, making him the 5th most frequent guest across Carson's entire 30-year run. Nearly 100 appearances meant these two had developed something special, and every single appearance showcased the incredible rapport between these two entertainers who genuinely enjoyed each other.
Okay, the first question.
Don't say anything. It's like a quiz tonight. Why can't I introduce you some night as Chuck Reilly?
Well, then I
Now,
have to
why is this
change
Charles Nelson Reilly? Why do you use the 3 names? I've never asked you that.
Well, I started. That
How
was
about
my
Chuck
name.
Reilly? You know that's
well,
nice.
then I have to get a whole new outfit, like leather things and suede. I wear rather a summary, sort of a Charles-y type outfit.
Reilly brought this flamboyant, self-deprecating humor that every time he walked out. Outrageous outfits became his trademark, sometimes featuring roses draped all over him, and he'd launch into comedy bits that had Carson in stitches before the first joke even landed. Carson joked that Reilly was his favorite orchestra leader, which showed just how much he enjoyed their back-and-forth banter that felt more like old friends than host and guest. The popularity of Reilly's appearances made him essentially a Tonight Show regular in everything but title. His comedy shorts and Broadway plugs became appointment television for fans who tuned in specifically to watch him and Carson play off each other with that natural chemistry. At number 4 stands Don Rickles, the man they called Mr. Warmth with a smile on their faces. Queens, New York brought Rickles into the world in 1926, and he became famous for insult comedy that could have been summed up with happy to anger everybody. Las Vegas and the Rat Pack scene made him a fixture, known for roasting anyone who got within 10 feet of him. 1965 brought Rickles his first appearance on Carson's Tonight Show, and that night started a beautiful friendship that would last decades. Over 100 appearances during Carson's tenure meant Rickles showed up more than twice every single year for 30 years, which tells you everything about how much Carson loved having him around.
Somebody broke my cigarette box. I just started the show. I picked my box up off my desk that I've had for 9 years. My box is broken. They told me you broke it on the show last night.
Well, I realize... But just keep me on your show. You mean so much to me. Can I...
No,
Please.
No. Don't.
Carson absolutely ate up Rickles' sharp wit, and the chemistry between them created magic every time. One classic moment from 1968 had Rickles walking onto the set while Carson was getting a foot massage, creating one of the most memorable Tonight Show moments anyone still talks about today. Rickles would call Carson Steenie, which was short for stinky, and constantly tease him about those thin legs while Carson would fire right back with his own insults.
Could I get a couple of minutes? No. Give me a break. I'm so lonely.
Carson once introduced Rickles with matador music and a hockey puck theme just to signal the insults that were about to fly. The mutual respect and genuine friendship between them was so obvious that audiences could feel it through their television screens. An Emmy came to Rickles in 2008 for Mr. Warmth, the Don Rickles project, and his voice work as Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story films brought him to a whole new generation. April 2017 took him at age 90, but those 100-plus Tonight Show appearances remain legendary as proof of why Carson loved having him on more than almost anyone else who ever sat on that couch. Number 3 belongs to Bette Midler, who they call the Divine Miss M, for reasons that become obvious the moment she opens her mouth. Born in 1945, Midler ranks among the most decorated entertainers history has ever produced, with 3 Grammy Awards, 3 Emmys, 2 Tonys, and 4 Golden Globes sitting somewhere in her house. Carson loved having Midler as a musical guest, but her most important appearance came on the penultimate episode of The Tonight Show in May 1992. Carson personally invited her to perform for this special occasion, and what happened next became the kind of television people reference decades later. Midler sang "One for My Baby and One More for the Road," which was a Sinatra standard Carson loved, and then moved into "Here's That Rainy Day," Carson's favorite song in the entire world. Carson joined her in singing right there on air, creating this incredibly emotional moment that felt like watching something too personal for television.
I heard that your favorite song was, Here's That Rainy Day.
Rainy Day?
Maybe I should have saved those leftover dreams. Funny, but here's that rainy day.
Here's that rainy day they told me about, and I laughed at the thought that it might turn out this way.
The performance carried so much power that Carson visibly struggled to maintain his composure, wiping tears from his eyes as Midler finished the final notes. Everyone in that studio felt the weight of the moment, knowing they were watching the end of an era slip away in real time. The acclaim for Midler's performance led to an Emmy Award in 1992, and Time magazine later named her among the most decorated female entertainers ever, which seems about right. As of 2025, she's still active in film and music, proving she's got no intention of slowing down anytime soon. That duet with Carson remains one of the most touching moments late-night television has ever produced. Midler didn't just entertain Carson that night, she moved him to actual tears, which explains why she holds such a special place in Tonight Show history that nobody else can really claim. At number 2 sits David Letterman, the man who carried Carson's torch straight into the next generation of late-night television. Born in 1947, Letterman became one of the biggest stars the format ever produced, hosting Late Night with David Letterman on NBC from 1982 to 1993 before moving his operation to CBS for The Late Show, which ran from 1993 all the way to 2015. Carson's Tonight Show first saw Letterman as a guest back in 1978, and Carson recognized his talent immediately. That early boost from Carson helped launch Letterman's career, and as Carson neared retirement, everyone assumed Letterman would take over the desk. Jay Leno ultimately got The Tonight Show after Carson retired, but Letterman grabbed the 12:35 slot and eventually moved to CBS, where he built his own empire in late-night television.
If you get bored on a flight, wait till the person in the seat next to you falls asleep. It's a lot of fun. Then what you do, you reach over, get their attention, maybe get them around the throat, give them one of these. And then you say something like, well, I guess we're going to find out now if these seat cushions really do float, huh? A lot of fun, and yes, the last comes fast and furious.
Guest hosting duties came to Letterman during Carson's absences, and on April 30th, 1992, Letterman hosted The Tonight Show one final time before handing the desk back to Carson for his last episode, which must have felt bittersweet for everyone involved. The respect Letterman held for Carson ran deeper than most professional relationships ever go. A 2005 tribute after Carson passed had Letterman declaring, "I owe everything in my professional career to Johnny Carson." And he explained that Carson created the template for every single talk show host who came after him, which nobody could really argue with. Letterman retired from regular television in 2015 and now hosts a Netflix series called My Next Guest. As of 2025, he remains very active publicly and often credits Carson in interviews for inspiring his entire career, never letting anyone forget where he came from or who made it all possible. At number 1, the guest Johnny Carson loved most was Joan Rivers. Born in 1933, Rivers became one of the most groundbreaking comedians American history ever produced, and Carson was the single person who made it all happen for her. February 17, 1965, brought Rivers her first appearance on The Tonight Show, and Carson saw something in her that nobody else had recognized yet. That very night on air, he told her, "You're gonna be a star." And those words completely changed her life in ways she couldn't have imagined sitting there on that couch.
What's your problem?
14 years in this damn show, you never gave me a gift.
Well,
I just want to talk about it. 14 years, I'm hysterical. You never asked me, do I wear red? Go, pull, sailor.
Rivers later said Carson handed me my career and believed in me more than I believed in me, which captures what his support meant to someone trying to break into a business that didn't want female comedians at all. She became a frequent Tonight Show guest, and by 1983 had filled in for Carson as guest host over 80 times, which was an incredible number that showed just how much he trusted and valued her talent. But then everything fell apart. 1986 saw Rivers leave NBC to host The Late Show on Fox, becoming the first woman to host a late-night talk show, which should have been this triumphant moment in television history. The problem was she didn't tell Carson personally about the move, and he felt completely betrayed by someone he'd considered almost like family. Rivers recalled that Carson immediately hung up on me when he found out and never spoke to me again, which must have devastated her. Carson banned Rivers from appearing on The Tonight Show for the rest of his time hosting, and the ban continued even during Jay Leno's run and Conan O'Brien's brief tenure. Rivers didn't return to The Tonight Show until 2014, when she guest-hosted Jimmy Fallon's version of the show, nearly 3 decades after the relationship exploded. Despite the painful ending that haunted both of them, Rivers never stopped crediting Carson for her success. She described him as the first person in power who respected what I was doing, which meant everything when you consider how women were treated in comedy back then. The Late Show starring Joan Rivers only lasted from October 1986 to May 1987 before failing, and Rivers spent years reflecting on what might have been different if she'd handled the situation better. The relationship between Carson and Rivers was complicated in ways most professional relationships never get, but there's absolutely no question that she was the guest he loved most. Carson discovered her when nobody else saw what she could become. He championed her when the industry wanted to ignore her. And he made her a star with those 4 words on that February night in 1965. Johnny Carson hosted The Tonight Show for 30 years, welcoming thousands of guests and creating more memorable moments than most people could have in 10 lifetimes. But these 10 guests stood above everyone else as the ones who made him laugh the hardest, who moved him emotionally in ways few others could, and who understood what made great television actually great. Carson passed in 2005, but his legacy lives on through these incredible moments that people still watch and share today. Subscribe for more videos like this.